Look, we gotta be honest, at this point, all of these social media companies are the same. They have the same goal, which is getting as many ad dollars out of you as possible, the same method, which is keeping you on their platform for as long as possible, and over the past couple of years, it's been a lot of the same tactics too, which is why some platforms, Instagram, have been borrowing features from other platforms with the hopes of getting the same success with using those features. That's why with all these similarities, every time I see algorithm hack content, I can't help but to look at it like this. I'm not here to dictate what other people post. What works for you, and that's great. But here's the problem with all this algorithm hack type of content, viewpoint, all that stuff. One, it preys on people's desire for overnight success. Everybody wants what they want as quickly as possible, and that doesn't change at all when it comes to social media. If anything, it's amplified. You see people seemingly going viral overnight, and then their success takes off from there. I'll save my rant for another time on why you really shouldn't depend on going viral in order to have success, specifically in business. But essentially, they market these hacks like, oh, post a 7-second video to increase your reach. And while those tactics might get you some engagement in the short term, in the long term, you're not really gonna build an audience of people who actually care about your perspective and ultimately care about what you're selling, which is what you're marketing yourself for in the first place. And the second reason why I tend to kind of side-eye algorithm hack content is because it doesn't really acknowledge that not everything works for everybody. It kind of sells the idea of you do this and you're gonna succeed, which really isn't the case. Just like some trends aren't for you to hop on, some formats of content might work better for other people than it does for you and your audience. So now that we got that out of the way, here's what to do instead of stressing about the next algorithm hack or the algorithm's updated type of video. 1, stop trying to hack the algorithm and start aligning your goals with your platform's goals. Platform goals, like I mentioned earlier, are pretty much the same. They want to make as many ad dollars as possible, so that's really not gonna change over time. The companies are gonna wanna keep making money, so if you can align yourself with those goals of the company making money, you're going to succeed. 2, recognize that the algorithm is just a tool for those platforms to keep people on for as long as possible. It's not your enemy. In fact, the algorithm is actually built on your own behavior. So that's why if you and your friend type the same search term into Instagram, you're likely to have different posts come up because you're 2 different people with 2 different sets of behaviors, perspectives, things you like and don't like, etc. And 3, you need to become a part of what keeps people on these platforms for as long as possible, in the most ethical way, because you don't want to create more of an addiction to social media than a lot of us already have. But that's a conversation for another day. Ultimately, if you match your goals with the goals of the platform, you'll create an evergreen content strategy that you really don't have to worry about fluctuating with the ups and downs and ins and outs of all the craziness that is social media marketing. You'll say goodbye to overwhelm when new features drop or when your favorite founder makes an announcement about some craziness that's happening on the platform. Ultimately, you'll feel more confident in your strategy because you know that it's grounded in aspects of social media that probably won't change much over time. So at this point, you're probably like, man, what does aligning myself with the platform's goals even mean? I got you. First, you want to recognize what you have in common with your platform of choice. Like I said, a lot of these platforms have the same goals and expectations, so you'll typically want the same things from your audience, starting with their time. When you get more of your audience's time, you benefit by getting more reach and more exposure of your content because the algorithm starts to push your content more because people are paying attention to it, meaning that they like it, it's entertaining. And the platform benefits because they get more potential for ad revenue because people are kept on the app for longer, so there's more of a chance for them to see ads. The next thing that you both want from your audience is engagement. Now, you want engagement because it helps you to build relationships and it helps you to understand more of what your audience likes and don't like. And again, it also helps to push you more in the algorithm. However, for the platform, it's important to get engagement from people. One, you know, to have the activity on their app, but also because it allows the app to learn more about their users and their interests, which again feeds into their model of how do I keep people on the platform for as long as possible. So if they can show people more of what they're interested in based on the things that they like and engage with, they can make more money because they're keeping people interested and on the app for longer. And this also allows them to match users with more relevant ads, which again helps them to make more money because if companies see, oh, my ads can perform well in this app and they really know their audience, that's another way for them to make more money. And the third thing that you and the platform both want from your audience is their loyalty. The obvious benefit for you is that the more loyalty you have from your audience, the more likely it is that you'll get conversions from them. And for the platform, again, feeding into their whole ad dollars model, the more loyal they are to the platform, the more they'll keep coming back, and then the more opportunities they have to serve them ads and make more money. Now, with those 3 things in mind that you both have in common, wanting your audience's time, engagement, and loyalty, it's time to think about the skills that you need to develop in order to get more of those things for both yourself and the platform, and to grow your presence. We'll start with capturing attention because that's ultimately the thing that's going to allow you to get more of people's time and to get new people's time versus the audience that you already have. At least 95 million photos and videos are posted on Instagram each day. Over 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. And on an average day, there are at least 6,000 tweets per second. Now, numbers like these and just seeing the wealth of competition on these different apps can be a little discouraging and can make it seem hard to capture and keep people's attention, but this is a skill you definitely need to master because the more you can capture people's attention, the more of their time you can gain, and the more you're showing up on their feeds, over time you become a familiar face, and that helps to build trust, which brings in more followers. Now, I like examples to better understand what people are talking about. One way that I plan to work on capturing people's attention is by calling out the audience that I'm trying to address. You can do this in 2 ways, either by calling them out directly. So if you were making content for educators and you say, hey, if you're a teacher, keep watching, or hey, teachers, stop scrolling, or something like that. You could make it a little more interesting than that, but we're just on the fly here. But calling the audience out directly in that manner, or by highlighting a pain point that your audience member might have. So you can say something like, if you're struggling with blank, keep watching. And you'll see a lot of different creators do that, and it kind of stops and grabs your attention because you're like, oh yeah, I have this problem, and it drives you to keep watching. So you can incorporate this into your own content to help to stop the scroll and get people engaged in what it is that you have to offer and say. Besides being able to capture the attention of the people that might be interested in your product, the added benefit of just calling out your audience or their pain points directly is that it can push away the people who wouldn't really be an ideal client for you, and that helps you to build an audience that is actually actively interested in the things that you have to say and offer. So the next skill that you'll want to focus on is the skill of building relationships, and that will help you to get more engagement on your content. As I said before, social platforms want to keep you on for as long as possible by showing you content that's relevant or that you're generally interested in. And that includes content from people that you know, like, have a relationship with, for lack of a better word. We'll use that term loosely because I don't have a relationship with Tracy Ellis Ross. She probably doesn't know that I exist, but I like her content and they show me her content. In order to gauge those relationships and your content interests though, the platform can only figure that out by your engagement. So are you liking posts from a certain creator? Are you sharing them? Are you DMing with someone? As you kind of DM back and forth with your friends and share posts with each other and hype each other up in the comments, all of those sorts of things are indicators that you have a relationship. And because of that, Instagram is more likely to show their content to you. So how do we use this in a business capacity? For me, I plan to create as many opportunities as possible for my audience to engage with me. Again, we love examples over here. So one way that I plan to increase my relationship building skills on Instagram is by, instead of having my audience click the link in my bio to access a resource, I'll have them comment or DM a specific word instead, and from there I will personally send them the link to whatever resource that I was referencing. This works out well, one, because people are very lazy on social media, and so this allows them to get the resource that they want without necessarily interrupting their scroll. They can kind of just keep going, especially if it's like a comment versus a DM. There's also this theory, I don't know if it's specific to just TikTok or also Instagram or just across the board, but some people say that adding things like link in bio to your content or your caption kind of suppresses it in algorithms. So again, I don't know if that's true, but if it kills 2 birds with 1 stone, that works out well. And actually it would be killing 3 birds with 1 stone, because the second benefit of this approach is that I'm building those relationship points because I'm DMing the person and we're having that back and forth engagement in order to get them to the end point of selecting my resource. And because I'm building those relationship points, they're more likely to see more of my content in the future. So all of that benefits me and all of that benefits the platform because I'm keeping them on, I'm keeping them engaged, and I'm building that relationship. Now, before I get into the next skill that you're going to want to focus on building, if you want to get the first look at these tips and strategies that I'm testing out, the behind the scenes of my business and all of those sorts of things, and you just like to see things in writing, I would definitely click the link in my description box to join my newsletter, where you get all this information first before I turn it into video format. And with that out of the way, we can move on to the next skill that you're going to want to build, which is providing value, which will give you your audience's loyalty. I'm a very realistic person, so I know I'm probably not the only person you're going to for content marketing advice, and because of that, I'm sure you've heard that you need to provide value. And while a lot of people say that, they don't necessarily give you the how-to, and again, I like examples, so I got you. One way that I'm providing value for my audience is by creating actionable content. And you can do the same. Instead of just telling your audience to do something, you can give an example of how they can do it. Even in this video, I gave you an example of how you can capture people's attention more when you're making your content, and then I also gave you an example of how you can build more relationships on different platforms. Giving these action items provides value to your audience because now they know that in order to achieve Y, I need to be doing X. People are constantly searching for clarity, so if you can provide value by giving them those actionable insights, they will keep coming back to you for more. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to give it a like and let me know in the comments which of those 3 examples that I gave that you might want to incorporate into your own content. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!